Alright, I'm going to do another video for Eric here, and let's just get started. This is another correspondence game on chess.com. Eric played the white pieces. He started with e4, e5, yet another double king's pawn game. Knight f3, d6, d4, looks good so far. Bishop to g4. Bishop e2 is perfectly fine here. Here he trades off the bishop. Bishop takes. Now White's got a considerable advantage here already. G6, C3. Again, in this situation, I'd probably rather get one of my pieces out, or even trade pawns. And you can even trade queens, not let the guy castle. Although that isn't necessarily critical, but just get all your pieces out really fast. Maybe. Yeah, pawn takes, queen takes, king takes, maybe knight out, bishop. Probably don't want to check him because he'll just kick you, but maybe bring the bishop here, castle queen side. I mean, White's got a big initiative, but I mean, c3 is okay. White's still got an advantage. Knight c6, bishop e3. Probably according to Fritz, and it'd just be my first instincts because I love cramping up my opponents, would be play d5 instead, knocking the knight back to here, or who knows, he might even go back here. But yeah, just kind of push him. The one good thing about c3, it covers these two squares. So if you push, yeah, the best move would probably knight a5 would be really quite bad. Although you can't win it. You can't win it, even though this looks tempting, because of after this, black's going to play c6, and you can't take because the queen covers. But even now, but the knight over there is just not looking good. So so after this, d5 was probably the best move to make. Oops. But bishop e3 is not bad. f4, black's just kind of lashing out here. But one interesting variation. One thing to keep in mind, if you can bust up someone's king side before they castle, it's usually a good idea. So in the game, White played g4, but another interesting line would have been e takes, and if probably Fritz Ringman's not, black shouldn't even take back, just develop the knight to f6 and just deal with the loss of the pawn. But if the pawn takes, there's a few different options. You could play queen b3. You could check the king right away so he can't castle. One line is bishop takes knight, busting up the pawns. Pawn takes back. Now queen check. For some reason this yeah, queen check ends. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here with the screen with the moves on. It keeps blanking out. But yeah, that'd be one interesting line. But anyway, after this, black played g4, which now the game's about even again. E takes d, c takes d, bishop takes is also possible. Here's like a sample line, and at the end, when the smoke clears, White remains a pawn ahead. I'm going through this kind of fast. You can pause it, go over different lines, but c takes d4 is probably fine. That's probably what I would play. Bishop out, queen d2 is played, but again the pawn could be taken, and when the smoke clears, White's going to be a pawn ahead. Yeah, he can't castle, but he's a pawn ahead. He's better developed. Well, yeah, I'd say he's better developed. The queen's not really a big threat, so White's doing well here. But I'm going to kind of go through kind of fast now. Bishop takes e3, pawn takes, queen check. Probably queen takes was a little better because it knocks this queen check right out of the box. It's always important to remember to be careful when you open your F file, especially when you've pushed this G pawn already. But queen blocks, queen takes g4, bishop takes, pawn takes. Now, yeah, this is kind of good creating a threat here. knight h6. Probably better before was just developing the knight though. Now the knight comes out. Now this is just a terrible blunder, losing both rooks. Queen takes, queen check. Rook blocking, it's tempting, but it's not such a good idea because now black can play knight g4, and the queen's got to come back to protect, and white's going to lose the exchange. I mean, he's still winning by a long shot, but anyways, here, yeah, but black didn't play knight g4, he played queen g4, and now actually there's a mate here that I'm just going to run through really fast, starting with rook f8. You can kind of see that black's king is in kind of big trouble here. Now black can throw in some checks, and now no human would actually play this move, but according to Fritz, this is the line that prevents mate the longest because, as you'll see, mate is coming. So where were we? But actually, in the game, instead of rook f8, queen a7 was played. Queen checks, rook f1, queen takes h2. Now b4 castling probably would have been better to defend this pawn, just getting the king to safety. b4, knight g4, and let me scroll down. Rook f7, best move. Good job, Eric. King comes over, and now there's actually another forced mate in 14, which basically means no human would ever see the mate in 14. But the computer saw it. But it's the best move anyway, even if you don't see the mate, because rook takes c7 was kind of tragic here, because of queen f2 check, king moves over, knight takes e3 check, king c1, queen c2 mate. Now let's look what would have happened if the rook stayed where he was, which also protects against this whole idea, and the queen took. Queen takes, queen g1 check, king d2, queen h2 check, king c1, king g1 check, king c2. Basically, after running out of checks, the black queen's going to get mated. So yeah, it was an interesting game, kind of tragic for Eric that he ended up losing it, but you always got to be aware of defense, even when you're 2 rooks up. And anyway, I hope that was instructive. I didn't time it. I think it should be under 10 minutes.